Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's a Saturday morning. Oh my goodness. And it is now day 9 of 2021. Can you believe it?
Already.
These days are going, man. They ain't playing at all. And all I could say is, hey, make sure you take advantage of utilizing your days to the fullest because listen, days are expensive. Okay? Days are expensive. I am excited to be joined by my kingdom brother, apostle, pastor, coach, leader, influencer, Pastor Myron Scott of the Greenway Church. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. I was wondering who you're talking about, but great.
Hey, listen, man, we should have had a conversation like this for a while, but I'm glad we're able to kick off the year and just really dive into some stuff, man. You have been passionately doing your thing for such a long time. Tell our viewing audience a little bit about yourself.
Wow. That's kind of a loaded question. um, uh, I've been a pastor now 24 years. This is my 9th year at the church I serve at now.
Wow,
Um, and I've been married 31 years.
man,
Have two.
you don't look like you've been married no 31 years. You hey, you look like you've been married like 17 years, maybe. Look at those brothers, man. Hey, we're gonna do a show on the secret to keeping it alive.
Keeping your mouth shut, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two daughters, really excited. First grandchild, she's 2 years old now. Man, I do a little everything, man. I love being pastor, love being coach, just loved it.
Yeah. That is so good to hear, man. That is so good to hear. The thought that I was having this earlier this week was that, you and I, we know each other for a while now.
Yeah,
I think we initially met through Apostle Michael Stevenson
that's correct.
years ago.
Years
Years
ago.
ago. And we've stayed connected. I am extremely grateful for you. You've utilized my services, had me come in to share with the wonderful people of Greenway. So do me a favor, tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming a pastor and how becoming a pastor and that now you're a senior pastor. Talk to us about that journey as, accepting the call, finding your message and staying true to yourself.
Well, I always like to. My mother shared this with me. That my mother almost lost me at birth during pregnancy, and she said she spent some time with God, and she promised God that if she did, if he allowed her to give birth, that she would give me back to him,
Mm.
and that's what she did. She kept me in church. Now, interesting enough, in keeping me in church, I still was a knucklehead. I was still out there doing my thing and all the above. But when it says train up a child in the way they should go, and when they grow
Yeah.
old, they won't depart.
Yeah.
Every one of those Sundays, I might have been sitting on the back row, not listening, but something was getting on the inside of me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I kind of knew. I accepted my call at 18
Okay.
to preach. So I always tell people I'm a boy preacher. Been
Yeah.
preaching from 18. Um, and I knew from the moment of accepting the call that someday I would lead God's people as a pastor.
Mm.
So that journey it's been that journey since then. I've always known that was my calling to lead God's
Excellent.
people.
Excellent. We got Brady Robinson joining us. Listen, guys, if you're watching us here on YouTube, subscribe to our channel and share it, like, comment, let somebody know. We're live right now. I'm talking with Pastor Myron Scott of the Greenway Church in Fort Worth, Texas. This is going to be a great conversation. Stick around and make sure you stay plugged in. You're going to learn some things today. You're gonna learn some things today, my people. But go ahead and let me know who's watching and where you're watching from. Okay, do me that favor. And so I see Brady Robinson. Brady said the Robinson family. Brady is the president and founder of Robinson Empowerment Group. an incredible business platform helping persons to get their money from acting funny. Okay, take control of your money. All right, but Pastor, you have been the pastor of the Greenway Church. Tell us a little bit about the church.
Well, church is currently, of course, you know a little bit when I took over it. It was after the death of Apostle Stevenson, and church was declining, and so they called me to be an interim pastor there, and while I served at my church at the time, and so I accepted the interim position, which as I was there. Within months, I heard the Lord say you were going to stay, but I said, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. And so we started seeing the church just come back to life and to grow, and we merged our church. And so we are a church that basically a church that merged together. I have a lot of people who call me now who are in the same situations. Amazingly, Ricardo asked me, how did we do it? And I just tell them, I said, man, it was ordained by God for us to do it. But we're a church in the Greenway community of Fort Worth. It's one of the oldest communities in the Fort Worth, African-American communities in the area. It's one of the first places that African-Americans own their own homes in the community, who work downtown. It's a church that is, as we like to say, we are on our mission to help people to experience God.
Excellent, excellent. Well, you know, we have people watching us today, and everything has changed with the church. I mean, globally, the pandemic has disrupted the way we've traditionally done church. And so, with that said, with all of the changes that's happening, what's your view on that and the local church, and just the need for change, the need to embrace technology, the need to learn how to connect with your congregation and still create community within these changing times?
Because I always say, you know, the church is stubborn.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes God has to allow something like and I don't want to say this, but like this to move us. The world's been doing some of this for quite some time now. It took this situation for us pastors or other pastors to move out of our box, to move out of our comfort zone. And it's amazing because so many pastors that I'm talking to that have moved out, as well as myself, even greater, I'd moved, but not quite as much I am now, are going, wow, I should have did this 5 years ago.
I know.
Yeah, so I think it's you know, it's calling us to grow, and I think that's okay. I think we need to grow. We need to grow.
Grow and change. We have Vito Patrick out of the Bahamas joining us. Thank you, Vito. Such a great guy. Him and his wife Linda. They run a platform called Unique Couples. This is the guy you need to talk to, Vito. This is Pastor Myron Scott. How many years, Myron? How many years?
31.
31 years. And Vito, you're going to have to tell the people he looks younger than he is, but he looks younger, but the brother has hold down 31 years. Got to write a book. What did you say? What's the key? What's the key?
It's keeping your mouth shut.
Keeping your mouth shut. How do you, man, you're a pastor. You talk for a living. I know you don't keep your mouth shut.
Well, you know, I always tell people, I said, my godfather told me something years ago, and I always pass this on to young men, is he said, make sure whatever you're doing, if sleeping on the couch is worth it. Yeah. So if they worth sleeping on the couch, don't do it.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Listen, how important is it for the church to embrace technology?
Again, it's important.
Before you answer that, if you guys are watching, Vito just put in the comment, wow, 31 years of marriage. I'm telling you, the guy's amazing. This is somebody y'all got to connect with. But if you're watching this, how important do you believe the church should be embracing technology? And should the church stay away from technology? Should, you know what? There was a time, Pastor Myron Scott, that the TV was the one-eyed devil. Come on. There was a time they tell you, listen, You know, you don't need no MySpace page. You need God in your space. Come on.
Well,
So how important is it to embrace technology, or is it important to embrace technology?
two things I want to say. First of all, why come God can't be on your MySpace? Well, again, we put boundaries on him.
Yeah.
We put boundaries on him, and God is so much bigger than I believe the church has allowed him to be.
Yes.
Matthew 28:19, we all know the Great Commission. Technology is allowing us to go to nations. I think you said it on here this morning. You got Bahamas on here.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
I know on my broadcast on Sundays, we have people from all over the United States, and actually a few Africa people too. That allows, so technology allows us to do that.
Yep.
So I just believe this is a God thing. He's sending ministry. He's sending the gospel out throughout the world now.
Yeah.
So I think every church. In fact, I talk to older pastors and I tell them, hey man, come use my church if you need to, but you got to get them. You got to embrace this technology because it ain't going nowhere. The church, and as I like to tell them, church has changed. We can say it. Church has changed. The old model of bringing in the sheep on Sunday morning like it used to be by the thousands, I don't think that's ever going to happen again. I hope I'm kind of wrong, but I don't think so because brother and sister then got used to getting church in their pajamas.
Yeah. And still connect with God.
And still connect. And
still contribute to the church, to the tithe.
And all the above. Most pastors I'm talking to, they're amazed that our technology that everything is up.
Yeah.
Everything is up because we connect with a lot more people. So
let me ask you this: for the church that doesn't want to do, PayPal, direct giving, Givelify, text to give, or even stream. I mean, there are some churches who want to stay out of this thing like Amish, man. They want to stay out of this, and they're believing to go back into the building. They're not gonna have this internet thing come into God's building. Come on, we don't want this internet thing coming to God's building. What's your view on that? And if you're watching, what's your view on a church saying? Because there are some people like that. That internet is of the devil. Watch it for the technology, and so once again, it may sound funny, but you and I, if we look back in history, can remember there was a time television was called the one-eyed devil. And you don't want a television in your house. There was a time radio was blasted. I mean, like negatively looked at. And if you study church history, then the church eventually got on radio and TV had took off. So when they were on radio, they were blasting television. And then when they got on television, they started blasting the internet. Then when they got on the internet, go to our website, then they start blasting social media. Let's talk about that group that wants to be a little bit more Amish, a little bit more. We're gonna stick with the wagon in 2020.
Well, Ricardo, I mean, you have to recognize it's the fear of the unknown. They just don't understand it. So good. They don't. They're frightened of it. Yeah. It's new. I'm trying to. In fact, we're getting ready to start a ministry in our church for technology in our elders. Yeah. Our seniors. I mean, our senior citizens, because it's so new. It's so new. From the cell phone to now the smartphone. Yeah. It's just so new, the embracing. And if you're talking about some of these seniors, and so most of the time those people who are fighting technology are our seniors. Yeah. And it's just because they don't understand it.
Yeah. That is so true.
And if they don't move in technology, then that church is going to die.
Wow.
But it's going to die not because the word isn't there, but it's going to die because you failed God. You failed to move with God. Yeah. God moves in time. We don't serve God like they served him at the mountain. We don't do that anymore. We don't, it's not necessary for all of us to go back to Israel anymore,
Yep.
And so we
Yep.
got to learn how to move. We got to learn to move with God, see where God's working, and work
Yep.
with Him.
Yeah, man. Wow. Wow. That's so good. I spoke with a gentleman earlier this week, and one of the things that I talked about was the importance of sticking true to the principles of the Word of God, but being flexible with the methods that
Exactly.
comes to getting the Word of God out. The method changes. The principle doesn't. You could be on a park. You can be in an arena. You can be in a convention hall. You can be in a sanctuary. You still, if you're preaching, you're preaching. The preach word doesn't change because of where you're located in relations to the quality of the scriptures or playing with the text. Don't touch the text. The word is the word. That's the principle. We don't move the word of God, but we can move our location. We can the various forms of how we get that word out. Do you know that there was a time when the paperback Bible came out that the clergymen of that day fought that from being distributed to the masses? And that were people, and there were people who were saying, "I don't think this should be given out to everyone. I think only the pastor need a Bible. Why should everybody have a Bible?" And it's just that things are changing. You said something that's interesting. I want to just go a couple of places. You said, "Listen, a church that doesn't embrace technology will die." There are churches that hasn't opened their doors in 6 to 8 months. Because one, they're afraid of the coronavirus and this pandemic, but they have not embraced the technology. And a guy like you or me or someone else would have said to that pastor, you can still connect with your congregation, but fear has grasped them, not only in the fear of the pandemic, but fear of technology. Talk to a pastor who's watching or a church leader that needs to get up and say, listen, we are not our building. We are more than our building, and we use our building to get our message out, but we are also you should be prepared to use something else as well. Talk to us about that.
Okay. It's funny, I counsel pastors on this quite often. And I tell them the message is the same.
Yep.
Never lose sight of the message.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, never lose sight of the goal. The goal is to get the gospel to the masses, to the people. That's the goal. That's why we have buildings. We brought them in to hear the gospel. There are people who came through the doors. We knew they wanted to hear the gospel. Not only that, it was a place that we could also train and disciple and send forward. Well, the building has just it's no longer for us. It's no longer 1816 Delga Street. It's now www.greenwaychurch.com. You know what I'm saying? The building just it changed, and you got to change with, again, the time that people are different. Technology has more people have had to embrace technology, and so man, if you're committed to being effective in getting the gospel out, this is it. This is it. There is. If you're gonna wait till the pandemic is over, we don't know how long. We don't know how long it's going to be. Your church will die.
Wow.
It will die.
Because we don't know how long technology. We don't know how long it'll be before we get back into our building to some level of normalcy. But we do know that technology has made it so easy for us. This year, I've been to a few countries via technology, and I haven't been on the plane, yet for the year. And so we're what 9 days in, but I'm tapped in. You know what I'm saying? I'm tapped in, and I'm saying to you guys who are watching, get with your pastor and encourage them to embrace technology, because it's not going anywhere. It's the future. And then, what about this, Pastor Scott? The churches that have embraced technology only because they were forced to, but as soon as they start getting back into the building, they start to revert back to the old way. So they start cutting out the various online opportunities that they were giving their congregation. How much of a mistake is that? I think it's a mistake. How much of a mistake do you think it is?
I think that'd be a major mistake, Ricardo. Major mistake. I think again, you add this. If anything, this added to our ministry.
Yeah, yeah.
This added to our ministry. I don't think you cut back, because again, I personally don't think the church, as we knew it pre-pandemic, will return the same. There are so many things that people have been trained, that have been retrained now, and the convenience of it. We know people go to flow to convenience.
Yep.
You know, that's they flow towards convenience. So the convenience of it, but as well as if you mobilized it well, it can work for you and allowing you to do and to reach. I have people again who are able to watch, and I think it's funny you say that, but to watch Tony Evans, watch me, and watch a couple other people all in one Sunday. That's their set thing. They get the coffee, and that's their set thing. They tell me they get a chance, so they get the chance to hear us different preachers differently. And I just don't know if you're going to be. I don't think people are going to change a lot of it. And I'm going to say that. And there are some people who were not coming to the building, who are now watching online.
That is so true. That is so true, ladies and gentlemen. I'm joined with Pastor Myron Scott of the Greenway Church in Fort Worth, Texas. Pastor Myron, looking back, what advice would you say to Myron Scott at 25? Man, you're in ministry now, and you've learned some things. You've had some experiences that only time could have given you, and so forth. So now you've gotten that wisdom, you've gotten some experience under your belt. What advice would you give Myron Scott? I have another question for you after this, but let's go ahead and give our viewing audience this answer.
Well, my answer would be to if I was to speak to him is number one, I would say enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey and know that it's a journey.
Wow.
And it's a long journey. And it's not an overnight stay.
Yeah. Before you go any further, I want someone to write that down, because if I've asked 25 people that question, 20 of them have said that answer to some degree. And let me tell you why I think it's so important. Because at some point in your life, you realize the journey is just as important as the goal. And there are people, Pastor, they're running behind these goals. And then they acquire the goal only to find themselves losing joy. So, man, thank you for saying it's a journey, and then enjoy it. Because that's really what I'm all about with Effective Living. Effective Living, our platform, we say, creating a life you don't need a vacation from. Now, the process there is, whatever it is you do, enjoy it. Live within the whole element of what I do is interchangeably to where it's work and play. And I'm not looking forward to the weekend, because I'm enjoying every day. And so go ahead and put in the chat, if you're watching, put a comment below. I'm going to enjoy the journey. Okay? Please put that. That's a phenomenal principle you should live on. I'm enjoying the journey as I'm living this life. Go ahead, Pastor. Share with us.
And while you're enjoying the journey, enjoy the people God sends in your life. And learn from them, and know that God sent them in your life to learn from them. And I always say, learn that they were either there to come for a season or stay, but learn to appreciate that. Learn from, like you, Ricardo. We've known each other for 20 some years now, and I appreciate the connection to learn from you, to learn from I just think you learn, and I guess that would be my next one. Always be learning.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Always be learning. Always be learning. I once late pastor Dr. L.B. Adams. He was 99 when he left. We called him Pops. Pops taught me that. Always be learning. He was 98, still learning, grabbing books.
Yep.
Getting out of his comfort zone.
Yeah.
So always be learning. So enjoy the journey and always be learning. So that's what I would tell the 25. Just keep learning. Just keep learning, man. Just keep learning.
Be open to it. Love it.
Be open. Yeah.
Love learning. I love that, man. I love that. That's what's brought me to where I am today. I'm extremely interested in learning. All of these interviews that I get the chance to be a part of and participate in, I'm learning, I'm extracting. I'm like, listen, man, you know something I don't know, and I want to know. And I don't think experience is the best teacher. I think learning from someone else's experience is the best teacher.
Yeah, experience can be painful.
Experience can be painful. Listen, you're a pastor. I think there are things pastors wish their congregants would know. And sometimes some pastors don't say it. But, give us 3 things you think a pastor wish every member knew and wish they would apply and give themselves to. Because we got a lot of people who are watching and will be watching this in the rerun that would know, oh, man, I need to really step up like that, because that's such a good food for thought, because I never thought of it before like that. I didn't know. My pastor never said it. And sometimes, as pastors, we don't say stuff. We just hope and believe God. I hope that he places it on our heart. I hope and pray that he gets it, right? And sometimes they don't get it. And so what would be 3 things you think pastors wish their congregants would know or would live to or show up as?
One of the ones for me, Ricardo, is I wish, pray, ask, believe for people to have a deep relationship with God.
Yep.
Have an intimate and practical relationship with God. Not just I call it a Bible relationship with God, a Sunday morning thing. I think that our relationship with God is the foundation of what we do. And number 2, part of that, having the foundation, having the relationship with God, is hearing God. That's one of the things we teach at the Greenway Church. That's one of our is to experience God. You got to be able to hear God.
Yep.
And if you can't hear God, then you can't communicate with God, and you'll miss God, and then you won't experience all the things He has promised. So we teach you how to hear God. Relationship, hear God. Then whatever you do for Him, or when you hear it, obey it, whether you like it or not.
Yes.
Whether you like it or not. And sometimes we know, again, we teach that the way you hear God, one of the 4 ways you hear God is through prayer, through the Bible, through the church, and through circumstances. And so when you hear God, you may not like it, but do it. It's like He says, just do it.
Yep.
And then you experience it and you'll be like, wow, this is great.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. There are persons watching us who had 2021 on their minds months ago. They've just been praying, Lord, I just want to make it to 2021. I just want, 2020 was a year to remember, okay? What a year, 2020. But there are persons who have come over into 2021 and they're continuing to do the same thing. If they really want to be able, if they could remember, roll back the curtain and really look back at 9 days into 2020, they would have seen some commonalities to how they show up. I believe that 2021 is the year for winning in every area. That's what I've been teaching. My goal is to win in every area of my life. Nothing missing, lacking, or broken. It's all coming together for my good. And so I want to win in every area. Talk to our viewing audience, those persons who feel like giving up, but the reality is there's a win inside of them. But they've had some losses. They've lost a job. The house got foreclosed on. The car got repoed. The bank account is empty, and they just don't know. But they were praying for 2021 to be a better year. But unfortunately, their mindset is still locked on the problems of 2020. While their interest is into winning, as I'm mentioning, and they're watching this broadcast with the idea, I want to win, but unfortunately, their habits and the way their mindset has been conditioned, they're not going to be any winning if they continue to be the way they're currently at on day 9. Challenge our viewing audience for a few minutes, please.
Well, again, one of those things we teach. Bible says, as long as the earth remains, seed, time, and harvest.
Yeah.
Another scripture I love, it says, a curse will not come without a cause.
Yeah.
So when you see the curses, in a sense, of your life, let's find the root cause of it.
Yeah.
And the root cause generally is your mindset.
Wow.
If you go back, let's look at your mindset and ask yourself the question, why do I believe that?
Yeah.
And is my belief what I believe, is it effective?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if it's not, thing is, I need to find me a mentor,
Yeah.
or someone who is effective or coach in that area, and I need to be coached.
Yes.
You know, I just started. I know you've been a vegetarian for a little while, and I just decided to try to jump on the bandwagon. And so what I did was I found me some coaches.
Yeah.
Because my mindset is not of that mindset. I'm the kind of guy that says that, hey, you can leave the veggies and give me the meat, But I also know that, and I'm not having those, but I've looked around and saw so many causes of eating so much meat that are damaging.
Yeah.
And if I don't want that, then I have to change my mindset.
Yeah.
My doctor is a vegetarian, so I'm gonna change my mindset, and that's all I'm saying. So if you 20, just the change of 2021 is not going to change if you don't change the cause. If you don't change your mindset, you don't change your habits, you don't change your thoughts. You got to make some changes. You got to make some, and they're not going to be easy because you've been doing them a long time. Yeah. If tell people, if you're struggling in finances, that didn't just happen overnight. That's been something you've been going to the mall too many times too long. Yeah. I like to tell them at Greenway all the time. Most of you have your light bills in your wardrobe. You just, so you didn't need that extra dress 2 months ago. That should have been money that you put in savings for when you lost a job, because you can't, job losing, especially now, is not necessarily because you did anything, but you're not having a savings is because you didn't do something.
Wow. Yes. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, we're joined with Pastor Myron Scott of the Greenway Church. Principles to live by. The goal is to learn how to win in life. And on Saturday mornings, I've been encouraging ministers to join me because we give a lot of practical truths through the week. But I want y'all to know, hey, I still believe that when we bring this thing in, we got to hear what God says. Okay? And so we want the Word of God to be also our guide to connect with all of the practicalities in what we're engaging in on a weekly basis. Okay? And so I have invited pastors in on Saturday mornings with our effective living. I believe it's important for us to connect ourselves with the divine, make sure that we got heaven's blessings. Come on. And so it's important for us to stay connected to the Father. Pastor Myron, how would you like to be remembered, sir, as we bring our conversation to an end? When the story is told, what would you like for it to be said about Pastor Myron Scott?
Well, I often say this. I hope my family has caught it. Acts 13:36 says, and David served his generation in his time. I want to be remembered as the man of God, the man that God sent to serve a generation in his time.
Wow.
That's what I want to be remembered. A man who served his generation, that I served God and I served my generation, that I wasn't, as I like to tell them, I wasn't a taker, I was a giver.
Wow. I wasn't a taker, I was a giver. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Guys, subscribe to this channel. Thank you for joining us. Encourage someone else to come on and let them know Ricardo Miller, with his Effective Living platform, is continually providing good content that will challenge you to live your best life now. Learn the principles that can help you to change where you are to where you need to be and get you to starting to do the kind of things you need to be doing every day, so that you can create that life you don't need a vacation from. Thank you very much, Pastor Myron Scott. Ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time watching us on Effective Living, please leave a comment, let us know. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We'll see you guys next week, same time, right here on Effective Living with Ricardo Miller. Bye-bye.
God bless you. All right.